over to you, Tracy. So looking forward to it.
Thank you.
All right, some days this behaves better. Okay, here we go. So if you do not want to be recorded, this is MS Office Hours. Please don't speak or show your likeness, and we'll be all great. So my name is David Perlman. This is MS Office Hours, and we're going to turn it over to our friends at Tucson Unified School District, talk a little bit about some of the great work they've been doing. Tracy, if you'd like to take it away.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to thank Jennifer Butch. I always mispronounce your name, Jennifer. Jen Butch, for helping us or inviting us to present for you all today. We're very excited that we've been given this opportunity to talk with you all about our adventures in using school-wide teams. And I'll get my PowerPoint up and going here for you. So talking about our adventures and how we've used school-wide teams at our high school, Rincon High School. We are located in Tucson, Arizona, and part of the Tucson Unified School District. And this is a picture of the auditorium of Rincon. Rincon's one of our banner schools in our school district, and very proud to be able to share with you what we have done. To introduce ourselves, my name is Tracy Rowley. I work in the Instructional Technology Department, and I have been extremely fortunate to work with the ladies in the Counseling Department. I'll let them say hello.
Thanks so much, Tracy. Hi, my name's Jill Morgan. I am one of the counselors at Rincon High School. And I have been at Rincon High School for about 10 years now.
And then next we have Tori. I think Tori's not with us yet. Is that, do we not see her yet?
Here.
Oh, good. Hi, Tori.
I'm Tori Bacall. I am the college and career counselor at Rincon. And I've been working at Rincon for, you know, it's hard to remember. I don't know, somewhere between 5 years, maybe 7 years or so. And I'm super happy that I get to do the college and career stuff with the students.
Hi, I'm Brenda Kazin. I'm a school counselor at Rincon High School. And I've been at Rincon for about 20 years now, and I've been in high school education for over 30, kind of old.
So we are so excited to get to talk to you all today about our adventures in one team, 1,200 students and 3 counselors, and how they use teams with their students. So ladies, I'm going to turn it over to you all.
Yeah, so it was crazy. It was spring break, my birthday, and all of a sudden we realized that we were not going to go back to school live and in person, which is kind of frightening for counselors because all of our work is done, you know, face to face with kids, and we talk to large groups of students sometimes, and our biggest fear was, how can we possibly communicate? How do we get information directly out to students that we need to get out to students? How do we make those connections? How do we check on students to make sure that they're doing okay? And we were heading into graduation and speaking with all of our seniors. So lots of fears and frustrations, and lots of trials and tribulations really going forward. So Tori, talk a little bit about how you were working on getting your kids into college and things like that.
It was really difficult in the beginning. I thought this is just going to be so hard to communicate with the students and to contact them. And it kind of was, you know, with having no contact, the students were left on their own. And so we were scrambling for sure. It was a good thing that it started in March, because the majority of the students knew what they wanted to do and already had their plans. So that was really lucky and helpful. Brenda, what do you think?
Well, so last spring, we resorted to just a lot of phone calls and text messaging. We remember when the lockdown started, we didn't know what Zoom was or Teams or any of this. So we just went to what we knew. So I was just calling kids all the time. So this year, the school year started, and we knew that we had to do things differently. So we thought of what could we do. A lot of the big hit was Bitmoji offices. All the counseling departments wanted to have Bitmoji offices, and they're like, you could set it up and it'll look just like your office. And then all students can just click here and they can request an appointment with you, and they can click here and they can see the scholarships. And we're thinking, okay, we go through all that. And remember, we are 3 middle-aged women. We are not digital natives. So just the thought of making a Bitmoji office was like, oh my God. And then knowing that we'd have to send out a link to students would have to click on the link and open it. And then anything they wanted from that platform would be a click and another link to open. And we know our kids, we knew we needed to be in their face with the information, and we needed to kind of hit them over the head with everything. So then we thought, well, let's do a sway. We'll have our office hours out and all the way to contact us. But again, with sway, it's a link, and the link gets buried. We sent out this sway link to the teachers to put on their Teams page for their classrooms. And it got buried in everything else that came up on their Teams page in their files and their posts. So so we thought, you know what, we need our own team for the entire school. So want to jump in, Jill?
Yeah, so that's what we did. We brainstormed and we created a Teams page. We have called it RHS, which stands for Rincon High School Students page. And we decided, although it's an insurmountable task, we actually have about 1,300 students at Rincon at that time. So we wanted every single student in the school to be a part of our teams, and we did it. And Tori, tell them how we did it.
Well, we had to go and put in each student individually. So that was a lot of prep time. What we did was we divided up the grade levels, and we each took a grade level. And then, sort of in between phone calls and emails and everything else that we were doing, we would input the whole grade level of students. So, it was great once it was done, but having to do it did take some time.
Yeah, and it should be noted at the start of the year, we had 4 counselors, so we really did each have 1 grade level. But we have some challenges with this. So first, wait, Tracy, are we going to talk about the challenges, or should we talk about how cool it's been? Okay.
I think, yeah, and I want to point out too, I don't know that any of you mentioned that they've added 4 channels. And so each channel has information specific to those students. So what the freshmen see in their channel is very different from what the seniors see. Am I correct, ladies?
Yes.
Yeah. Most announcements go on the general channel, but we do grade specific announcements in each class.
All right. So oh, sorry, Brenda, were you done?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, so we started using this, and although, as Brenda has so nicely mentioned, we're all a little middle-aged here, but we started using it, and all of a sudden kids were getting notified that they were now part of this special RHS teams. And there were some interesting stuff that was started to go on. We would get students who were requesting that, hey, why don't you add my little brother or sister from the middle school, or hey, this guy that goes over to a different high school, I'd like him to join this team too. So we learned a lot. We kind of had to streamline it and figured out how exactly to use it. But it's been great for us. And Tori, talk a little bit about all of the great stuff that you put on Teams for the students to see?
Well, now we use it constantly. We use it nonstop. We post everything that comes up that we want the students to see. So we post announcements. You know, we just learned today that we're going back in person next week. That was sooner than what we had thought originally. So that information's going to go on the Teams. I put up scholarships all the time. I receive scholarships from everywhere. And Teams for me has been better than trying to get this information out to the students when we were all in person. Because the kids can look at Teams 24 hours a day, and they do. So I'll get a response or an email on Teams from a student who's looking at it at 2 a.m. You know, so, but it's this format has been fabulous because everybody can see it. And with the scholarships, I can put it on the general page so not only seniors, but juniors can see them as well. And we put, like I have a college club, and we put the announcements weekly for the college club and what we're going to do, who's going to be the guest speaker. We put in workshops and leadership training opportunities, and everything that comes along our way, we just pass it on to Teams and post it for students. So we really have utilized this, and the kids are looking at it all the time. Brenda, what about those students who, you know, there were 228 responses to something that you had posted?
Right. So the students respond to not only things that we post, but then they talk to each other as well, and they interact that way. Just the other day, there was kind of a funny interaction because a student, I always do a good morning post when I come in, and I remind the students what the schedule is, and I open my office hours because I have office hours first thing in the morning. And a student he's a senior, and he was kind of AWOL for a long time, and all of a sudden he reemerged, and he's like, I need to talk to you about my schedule, and I want to graduate, and he was asking questions, and then finally someone came in and said, hey, can you email her instead of using this, because I keep getting pinged on my device. And speaking of that, Paul is asking a question: how does every student have a device to connect to Teams? Paul, everybody was issued a laptop. And every class has a team. So at night, our student information system links with Teams. So teachers always have new students updated to their Teams page. So yeah, so the student interaction is just awesome to see them talk to each other. And I'll put out, like, if we're starting a student group, we'll put out an information, and students will say, I want to be a part of that group, and I want to be a part of that. And then teachers will chime in and say, this sounds like a great group. I'm going to tell my students about it. And it's been really awesome.
Yeah, and you know, students, they have certain requirements that they must meet for graduation, and so we, on a weekly basis, put that information on there, and teachers check out our information on there as well, and it's been really nice.
Yeah, as you can see. So I want to jump in. Christopher asked a question. Do you limit who can post, or do you have any trouble policing content? You know what? There was an issue initially. We actually had to shut down all comments at first, and it was a combination of factors. One, we were getting like spam from outside entities. I don't even know. It's like this weird like commercial spam was hitting our chats, and then students started saying things that were verging. It was kind of going into inappropriate territory, and so it was pretty much one comment. I said, if you want to be able to respond on this, you have to keep it clean. And we've had zero problems after that. The kids have been awesome with that. And yes, we are a one-to-one due to the pandemic. And our principal is now online. I see she's answering questions too. Awesome.
Right.
Oh, I'm so glad Miss Welch is on with us. I tell you, having Miss Welch joining us is just a tribute to the power of this school, the connections they have with each other, with their students, and the involvement that everybody has with each other and with the students, and the community at Rincon High School is so tight. It's just really special. So glad Miss Welch is joining us today.
Yeah, so we don't have a code of conduct for the team. It's just the students, at this point, the students do a good job of monitoring each other. At first, we had to do some serious monitoring.
Yeah, it should be noted that students, for the most part, across our entire district, teachers and lots of different staff members do have their very own Teams page. And so, at first it was a little strange, and you got a lot of silliness going on and things like that. But the students are just, that is their new norm. Students who would typically figure out the rules and the behaviors that were appropriate for a regular classroom have now adjusted that, and they know how to act when they're in their teachers' Zooms and in their interactions on Teams.
And another good thing about the teams is that all the students receive the same information. So, and I always wonder if students look at teams or if they know what's going on, but they do. So even if they don't react or if they don't respond, they've seen it. And like I had said before, I don't think I was able to get across as much information as I am now with all of the students. So it's really been great. And as Brenda said, the teachers are on the student Zoom, so they support the groups and the workshops and presentations that we offer. And
in teams, yeah.
Right. So it's really, like I said, when we go back in person, this is something that's going to remain. We will continue to use it to put out information, scholarships, presentations, just whatever we're going to be doing. We will continue to use it with teams.
Yeah, and David asked, how did we train students on the use of Teams? Since every class has a team page, the students got trained pretty quickly on it, and they know it just comes up. We use Clever, which is kind of an umbrella login, and it comes up under that, all their teams, the teams come up. So the challenge that we've had is, in addition to hand adding every single student initially, it's remembering to add new students who enter our school. We have a pretty high mobility rate in our district and in our school. And so, and especially in this remote learning, we've had students get dropped for non-attendance and then they come back. And the challenge has been to remember to re-add them and bring them in, because unlike each class that syncs every night with our student information system, ours does not sync. And so we have to manually add every student.
Yeah, and yeah, that has definitely been a challenge. And then also for us now, there's a bit of a lag between the date that a student actually registers until they are available for us to pull in as a new member. So sometimes there's a little bit of loss of information, and sometimes there's a little lag in it. But overall, I think our district in using Teams has really done an outstanding job bridging a lot of those gaps. It's been a learning situation for all of us. But I'll tell you what, looking to the future, I would never go back. I know that I will continue to use Teams, and I know that students will want to continue to use Teams because it is, in a way, another form of social media, but a really positive and academic-based one, I think. What do you think, Tori?
I agree. I think that the students enjoy using it. They probably figured it out way before we did. And I think that there are all sorts of aspects of Teams and Zoom and everything else that will remain in place when we go back. One of the great things for Zoom is that I can have college reps from all over the country come and talk to the students.
So can you do that on Teams too?
Yes.
No. I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yes, you can.
Oh, yes, you can.
Yes, with
I had to say, come on. Yeah.
a lot of the teachers use Zoom, and
I know.
so yeah, so they just going along. And it really, for us in my school, in the school district, it depends on the school. So some of our schools are 100% Teams for all their meetings, and then others are Zoom, and that's one of the things that Rincon has chosen to do. So, but excellent
Absolutely.
question.
I get every school has some semblance of, the two. So I just wanted to make sure, since we're recording, I just want to make sure that we could do that on
Yes.
Teams. So
They could,
I
yeah.
appreciate that. And sorry, I had to add
Okay.
a little bit of levity there. So I think it's amazing in terms of what you've done. If there was, one or two things that you'd love to tell the Microsoft team that we should change, anything come top of mind?
Yes. It would be great if we could somehow get our student information system to link with our school-wide team every night so we can upload new students and get them right into the team. That's like the number one issue.
We're probably working on that somewhere. Jennifer's going to say something, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and Tracy's actually been a huge part of this as well. The district leverages school data sync already. So we are rostering teams on behalf of the entire district from a class perspective.
Yep.
But I definitely think this is something we should talk to you about further, Brenda, on how we can incorporate the entire school for one team. So I think that is absolutely something we can help support.
So what's you're using your what's your system of record? Your LMS, in terms of your student information system, is kind of the authoritative source for everything else?
Yes, we don't actually have an LMS yet. We're actually looking at different LMSs, but we are using our SIS is Synergy.
Okay, gotcha. It's not one that I'm familiar with, but even if you can get a flat file, it's pretty easy. So if you want to spit out a file, and then we can ingest that into Power Automate without too much trouble, and in probably 20 minutes, you can create a flow to really populate those Teams channels. It's not horribly hard. I do some similar things right on the back end because we have 1,500 people now in this community, and there's people coming and going all the time. And I can tell you, I have neither the time nor the patience to add people to that every day. We'd be doing it tonight. So the fact that you're doing that, I'm impressed. You probably have 20% churn in a school district like yours, right? People in between, going in between schools, leaving the district, coming back into the district. So I'm sure there's some really sharp people that work with you. I know in the greater Arizona area, Jennifer included, but there's probably a couple of TSs. You're not the first folks that have done that. If anybody out in the community has found an easy way to automate that, please share directly with these folks. Jennifer dot, I'm going to say your name wrong as well.
Usage. Yep, usage.
Oh, I
It's
totally
not an
butchered it
easy one.
earlier. Sorry.
Okay.
Email her, and we can probably make the connection. But I know we have a number of school members that are out there that are already doing that. Fulton County Schools is doing that. I know down in the Atlanta area, but I think they have a SMS or LMS that works with everybody. But this is great. Any other recommendations you would give us?
I'm just so happy that they agreed to be a part of this today and to present. They've been a shining star. They're one of our crown jewels in our school district for schools, and then this team putting together this counseling team and making, it's just amazing what these three ladies have done, and what they've done for their students. That's really the power. What they've done for their students, and it's exciting to see. Thank you so much for inviting us to be here today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank
So here's
you.
what's going to happen. I really appreciate you, again, kind of putting yourself out there, and my Microsoft peers, thanks for bringing the Tucson team with us and sharing. Where we are from a year ago, it's amazing what we've learned. And in fact, in some cases, there are schools that haven't been able to figure out how to do this, and they have a full IT team, and they have lots of other things. And sometimes necessity drives innovation. So really appreciate it. And thank you for everything that you're doing for both the students and as well with the Microsoft team. So thank you so much. And on that note, I'm going to stop recording. If there's anything else that anybody wants to add or any other questions while we're not recording, feel free.